and the spark is generated, and the spark will actually damage the other parts of the uh, regulator inside. So if continuously there is a speed variation, then continuously there will be spark generated. The regulator will get heated up unnecessarily, and this heat actually will damage the overall regulator. So to get safety from this mechanical regulators, electronic regulators have been invented, and the tolerance factor in the electronic regulators are very less. That means it does not change its performance very frequently, so it gives you a very stable, static and accurate performance. So what is written is the electronic regulators, due to more accurate tolerance, are much faster switching. These are mainly now replaced, or has replaced all the mechanical regulators. So electronic regulators are now universal on modern cars, so they are far superior in performance and procedure is in procedure, and they produce much more stable output. So due to the compactness, so that means size is also very less, and it is vibration insensitive. So during very big vibration also, electronic regulators work very fine. Okay, and it's having vibration resistance, and they are now fitted almost universally on all the alternators. Okay, so they also reduce the number of connecting cables required. So now I can very easily ask you a difference between the mechanical regulators and electronic regulators, and you should be able to write it in a two-column form. So what the differences will come? So first difference will, the mechanical regulators, they are actually wears out because there is a make or break or make contact kind of thing. So there is wear and tear in case of mechanical regulators, but electronic regulators, such wear and tears are not there. So inside mechanical regulators there are some kind of mechanical motions, but electronic regulator there are no mechanical motions. So there is a solid state device. Only because of switching on and switching off of T1 and T2 transistor, this electronic regulator works. Okay. Then there is heat and spark produced in case of mechanical regulators. There is no such problem in case of electronic regulators. Electronic regulators are much more stable compared to the mechanical regulator. Electronic regulators are much tolerant, are having very less tolerance actually, and they are much tolerant to vibrations and other things. But mechanical regulators, on the other hand, they are less accurate, and they are less tolerant about the parameter changes like variations or vibrations. Electronic regulators are now universal. That means they have substituted all the mechanical regulators because their performance is better. Electronic regulators are much more stable. Mechanical regulators are less stable. Electronic regulators are less are having affected less by vibrations. Electronic regulators are more compact. Okay, and they are now fitted almost to every alternator for regulation of stator voltage. And finally, the connecting cable length in case of electronic regulator, they are much small compared to the mechanical regulators. So in the right side, you can find this is the circuit of the electronic regulator, and here is the supply which is coming from the half wave rectifier. So this is that I have shown you previous slide that the stator voltage is connected to part A rectifier, part B rectifier. So part A rectifier is actually is a half wave rectifier, and from there supply is coming to the magnetic coil. So I had shown two supplies there. I told you one supply is going to the regulator directly, another supply from that half wave rectifier was coming to the field winding, and if you remember, there was another parallel supply which was going to the WL, that is the warning light. So mainly two connections are coming toward regulator. One is connected directly to the field winding, and through T2 it is coming to the ground, provided T2 is on. So T2 is the main component which, if T2 is on, that means base of T2 is getting proper supply and T2 is in a saturation state. So every transistor is having three state. First state is cutoff state. So in that case, the transistor does not conduct. Second state is active state, when transistor acts as an amplifier, and third state is saturation state. So when the T2 is getting enough supply voltage at its base, T2 is actually going into the saturation region. And if T2 is going into the saturation region, here is the path. So this is the voltage which is coming from that rectifier. half wave, and through that the current flows to the field winding. So this is the field winding through which we have to control the current. So this field winding is actually the rotor field winding. More is the rotor field winding current, more will be the stator output. And if we want to reduce the stator output, we have to cut off the current flowing through this stator winding. So if V rectifier is producing voltage lesser than 14.2 volt, in that case transistor T2 will be on. Transistor T2 will be on means transistor T2 will be in a saturation state. If the transistor T2 is in saturation state, that means it is full conduction state, then current will be flowing through this path, through field winding, and through T2 it will be coming to the ground. So in that case, whenever voltage is less than 14.2, there will be the base voltage through the R3. The base voltage will be connected to the base of transistor T2, and transistor T2 will get enough base voltage. Transistor T2 will be on. Transistor T2 will be on means this whole path is short circuited. Then the current will be flowing through the field winding. Okay, so this is the first case when V rectifier is less than 14.2 volt. As soon as voltage is given to the field winding, so rotor is rotating and stator is producing voltage. Suppose stator voltage suddenly becomes very high, that means this V rectifier voltage is greater than 14.4 volt. At the time what happens is, just check, this 14.4 volt is connected to this voltage divider bias. Okay, so voltage across this R2 resistance is connected to the cathode of the Zener, and Zener is a kind of a voltage regulator device which can conduct in the reverse direction. What is meant by reverse direction? Voltage at cathode is greater than voltage at anode. So how is that voltage Vz or Zener diode regulator voltage is decided? That should be equal to R2 into V rectifier increased voltage divided by R1 plus R2. What is the voltage at this point? This point voltage is R2 into V rectifier divided by R1 plus R2. So if this V rectifier voltage is higher, at the time voltage at this point becomes higher, and that crosses the Zener regulation voltage. As soon as the voltage at cathode of the Zener crosses the regulation voltage, this becomes short circuited. As soon as this Zener becomes short circuited, it tries to, or it conducts in the reverse direction. That time base of T1 gets huge current. As soon as base of T1 gets huge current, what happens is this point or this base is actually directly grounded, because this base is getting huge current means this whole emitter collector becomes short circuited. So this collector emitter when short circuited, that means this point is shorted. That means base of T2 is getting no voltage. As soon as base of T2 is getting no voltage, what happens is T2 goes into off. If the T2 is going into off, then this current is not having any path to be connected to the ground. That means field wind will not be getting any kind of current supply. That means rotor of the alternator is not getting any supply. So this whole circuit is having two steps. First step, when V rectifier is less than 14.2 volt, that means less voltage is produced by alternator. At the time this 14.2, less than 14.2 volt, let's say 14 volt is coming to this point after rectification. So this is actually giving supply to the base of T2, and T2 is turned on. Turned on means emitter collector, this is the collector point and below is the emitter point, they are actually shorted. That means this actually making some current flow through the T2 to the ground. That means field winding of the alternator is getting some current. That means field winding is rotating, it's creating rotor EMF, it's creating stator supply, and stator supply is increasing. And stator output, when is it increasing, if it is going above 14.4 or higher voltage, at that time what happens is that higher voltage actually comes and triggers this Vz, because at that time voltage at this point is R2 into Vz divided by R1 plus R2, and this R1 or R2 is decided in such a way or designed in such a way that this R2 into V higher rectifier voltage divided by R1 plus R2 should be for reverse biasing, or should be making this Zener in a conducting region. As soon as the Zener is into conducting region, this T1 base is higher, so T1 goes into saturation. As soon as T1 goes into saturation, this collector emitter is short circuited. That means base of T2 is brought to the ground. That means this T2 becomes off. Whenever this T2 becomes off, this V rectifier cannot send any current through field winding, because now this T2 is off. And whenever T2 is off, at that time there is no field current, stator output of the alternator produces less voltage. Now only one component which I did not explain here is this D1. So D1 as written here, D1 is actually a diode which actually absorbs the back EMF. Otherwise the back EMF might go and damage the other part of the rectifiers. So let us study the key to this electronic voltage regulation is the Zener diode. I told you this Zener diode and setting up the Zener voltage, which is nothing but this voltage input V rectifier into R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Whenever V rectifier voltage is less than 14.2, at that time this voltage is not big enough to turn on the Zener. As soon as the V rectifier voltage goes above 14.4, at that time this R2 into V rectifier by R1 plus R2 becomes large enough to turn this Zener on in the evaluation. And as soon as this is turned on, T1 is turned on, T2 is turned off, and no current can flow through the field winding. So turning on and turning off of T2 is main reaction or main action in this regulator. So the key to this electronics voltage regulation is the Zener diode. The diode breaks down and conduct with a reverse bias voltage set by R1 and R2 voltage divider. Zener diode acts as the over voltage sensing and regulating element in the voltage regulator. So this is the Zener diode, which is the main sensing element or voltage controlling element, and this diode is actually a diode which is actually absorbs all the negative or back EMF produced by the field winding. Because this is an inductor, it always produces a reverse voltage, and that reverse voltage is absorbed by this D1, and that absorbing D1 is saving this circuit from any kind of hazards. So details of this voltage regulator and details of this circuit again will be covered in the next day.